Ignition sequence start 5 4 3 2 1 0. We've got a left. Hey, everyone. This is the Digital Asset Investor, and I want to remind you that the Ledger stacks are still taking pre-orders. They're going to ship it, and it's thought that they'll finish by May 2023. I have mine already. I also wanted to remind you that Vista, these guys are one of the people who pay me to do what I do. Fight against the only place you can get XRP right now. Okay, put a link to each of these at the top of the description. And I want to show you that this is where I buy XRP. I haven't bought it in a while, but I know I won't be afraid to. And then there's this. After a lawsuit against them was dropped yesterday, there is now a lot of pressure on Coinbase to add XRP again. Case about an unregistered security is thrown out. So in their corner, they have to win. After that. This is a tweet sent out by one of the guys at Coinbase. He says that we are glad that the federal courts carefully thought about and backed up what our user agreement says very clearly. Coinbase doesn't own the things that people put on the site. I think that Fred Rispoli is going to sue Coinbase over Songbird. He says that if Coinbase doesn't hold title to customer assets, it can win some and lose some. Then you are literally stealing Flare and Songbird, whose title flows through customers' XRP. Before anyone gets too excited about the motion at hand, he says something off topic. For the sake of argument, Coinbase agreed that all 79 tokens that plaintiffs said were securities were in fact securities. Bizarro world, we're in the library and tweeted this. How cool is the library Coinbase? XRP sold by secondary holders is not a security according to the SEC versus library standard. So, now you know. Then Mr. B came and said that Coinbase shareholders should be able to trade XRP again. Let's stand up for something. Now, just like they did in almost every cryptocurrency pullback I've seen since 2013, which is all of them. Then, almost on cue, all of Wall Street's big names start to criticize crypto. Charlie Munger, a billionaire investor and staunch Bitcoin skeptic, has gone after crypto again, calling for us to ban crypto like China did. So, they'd like to go to China with me. Then I cut out a piece of his writing from February 14, 2018. Charlie Munger comes out and does this almost at the same time every year. You can't help but wonder what they're doing. Charlie Munger wants regulators to take it easy on Wells Fargo, a company in which he and Warren Buffett invested, but he says crypto is a scam. That is, banks that were saved by the government during the financial crisis. Also, don't forget, or I can remind you, these guys met through their company, okay? Let's not forget. And it's no accident that the same people are in both stories. Here's a report by Andrew Ross Sorkin, and at the time of the financial crisis, they made it sound like Warren Buffett had saved the day and bailed out Goldman Sachs. However, they left out an important part, which you can see in the movie Too Big to Fail. I think it's the one where Hank Paulson, who was the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, talks to Warren Buffett on the phone and works out a deal for Buffett to buy, I think, preferred stock in Goldman Sachs. But in exchange, the government gives him promises, but they put Martha Stewart in jail for getting a stock tip from a broker. But this is not insider trading because our government did the same thing during the financial crisis as they did during the pandemic. They said, okay, we're just going to stop following all of these laws. We're just going to throw away the Constitution and do whatever we want because, hey, this is an emergency. And nobody goes to jail. Pay attention. This is the question this morning as Mr. Buffett, known as the Oracle of Omaha and the person whose words everyone listens to, speaks. Wall Street spends $5 billion. If I could talk to the Secretary of the Treasury on the phone, that would be fine. He could tell me for sure where I should put my money. If I put $2 into Goldman Sachs, you'd call me an oracle. The question is he catching a knife that is falling? Or have we reached rock bottom? He's already spent $5 billion. He's giving away more than $5 billion for a 10% dividend, which is known as expensive money. He also has the right to buy an extra $5 billion worth of stock at a huge discount, so it's probably going to be a good deal. And on top of that, the U.S. federal government gives him guarantees that you and I don't get. Now, CNBC is really using the same characters over and over again, but I think this one is one of the good ones. This is 3 minutes and 13 seconds long, but you should watch it. Ray Dalio is his name. And I want to own it and tell a story before I play it. It's something I've said before, maybe on this channel. Now, I always get emails. And I don't know if this email was real or not. But about 2 or 3 years ago, I got an email from someone who said, I work for one of the largest investment firms in the world here in the United States. We are looking at XRP, I can tell you that. And he said I won't say which firm I'm with, but look at the attached pictures. The picture was of a bridge and water. Ray Dalio comes from the town of Bridgewater. That's a story that really happened. I'm interested, very interested. Okay. What has changed for you and where? Yeah, just everybody? Let me tell you what I think you're up to with Bitcoin. And when I've pretty much always, I think it's been quite amazing that for 12 years it's accomplished, but I think it has no relation to anything. Okay. In other words, it moves and doesn't connect to anything. It's a small thing that gets a lot of attention for being so small. You know, the value of crypto Bitcoin is less than a third of the value of Microsoft stock. You could also go into biotech or other industries that are more interesting than Bitcoin. It won't be a good way to spend money. It's not a good way to keep your money safe. It's not a good way to buy or sell things. But money as we know it is in danger in the world we live in, right? We are making too many copies. And it's not just the US, all the reserve currencies, including the euro, are in the same situation. What's going on in Euroland? What's up with the yen? So the question is, what is money in that world? And how does that plan to work? So, if we look at something like China's renminbi and add the digital income to it, I think you'll see that happening more and more. So, when things start to open up in an evolutionary way, people will start to wonder where they can keep their money safe. And as China does more of its business in renminbi, it makes sense that those who hold renminbi will hold more renminbi. For example, if Saudi Arabia sells oil in renminbi and then buys things from China and renminbi, when they get it, they'll hold more renminbi because it will be a bigger part of their money. Now this is interesting. Is money not just a way to buy things, but also a place to store wealth? Sounds like a good case for Bitcoin. So, like always, they try to steer him toward Bitcoin. They try to get everyone to buy coins through Bitcoin. I think you have to do something different if you want a digital currency. I don't think stable coins are a good idea. Because then you'd have a currency backed by nothing. I think what you really want is a coin tied to inflation, right? Another word for something where you could say, okay, this is going to give me buying power, because everyone wants. What do they want? They want to secure their buying power. If you want to save money now and put it in Bitcoin, it works like this. Who can tell what will happen? If you put it into something, an inflation index bond is the closest thing to that. But if you made a coin that said, okay, this is the buying power I know I can save in and put my money in over time, and then I can train it, that would be a bond, and you could use it anywhere. That looks like a good coin to me. But I think you'll see that the inflation-protected bonds were called TIPS back when I worked at Morgan Stanley. Was he talking about a TIPS bond for digital assets? The making of coins that you haven't seen yet, but that are likely to be attractive and useful. Certainly. Very fascinating. Now once the head of the Federal Reserve said yesterday that the process of deflation has begun, the price of Bitcoin and other digital assets went up. So cue the kid, who I called Jack Mollers the Kid because every time they bring this kid out, it reminds me of the cartoon monkeys I've had to watch for the last few years. But when I listen to I'm watching this kid, he's wearing a hoodie, and if you go to his Twitter handle, it says, yo, okay, now, many years ago, I decided that XRP was the smartest digital asset. I decided, hey, these guys are the adults in the room. I've never been more sure of that choice than I am right now. And I watch this kind of mess. It's always good to see you, founder and CEO of Strike Jacket. What's up? It almost seems like CNBC is laughing at us. Tyler Kelly, Merry Christmas, Happy it's the new year. So, as you can see, it's nice to see you. Let's talk about this system for sending money or making payments. If I'm talking to the kid about a payment system, say I'm a nurse in Denver and I want to send money back to my sibling in Manila and I use your platform Strike. Do I even know that my money is being changed into Bitcoin so that the transaction can take place? Or do I not? Is it so easy for me to understand that I don't even know? So unbelievable question, Tyler. Don't you know? You have no idea. In fact, we're very sure that Bitcoin will never be used as a form of payment. No one wants to spend Bitcoin, and if you spend it in the US, you're spending property, so you have to tell the AI to put some nice, empty shells in there. No, folks, I won't take that into account. And you just told me, the Swift model, I think. When we talk about open networks, we can talk about open APIs. It's not, though. I mean, Swift is an API that is controlled by Swift. Even so, I like what GPI has done to speed up what has been, a fairly slow process. I've said it many times, but GPI, there's a reason why we're the adults in the room and why the XRP Army community, or whatever you want to call it, is bigger and probably smarter than the others. We're right because CNBC is telling a different story, and we're not buying it. And it's clear that it's always been a story and not the truth. We're on the side of what's right, what makes sense, and what's true, and all these Mickey Mouse kids that they're putting up there like these kids, well, that kid may be in his lane and as smart as he can be. What though? When I look at Ripple, I see adults. I see people who have lived a lot and are very smart. This year, Eleanor Terra, Congress will look at the SEC more closely because the Financial Committee says the agency hasn't been reauthorized since 2015. Reauthorization is the process by which Congress looks at a government agency or program and makes changes to it to make sure it is running well and doing what it was meant to do. It's also important to figure out how much money the government should give it. For fiscal year 2023, the SEC was given more than $2 billion. Even though its permission ran out in fiscal year 2015, this means that Gary Gensler will have to fight to show the Financial Committee that his agency is working well and that it got the right amount of money this year. And what he wants to get next year is fair. I've been told that the HFSC's move to reauthorize the SEC is the first step in the GOP's plan to crack down on the agency and put it in its place. You can look at these people. It looks like Gary Gensler is about to start a new day. I can't say he doesn't deserve it. I also have no idea why Jack the Ripper tweeted this. But this is one of my favorite screen grabs I've taken since I started doing this, because it always surprises me. The Wall Street Journal said this. I think it was 2017 when cryptocurrency became popular. As late as 2025, they all called about Bitcoin, this theory and this Ripple, and they still do it a lot. But these guys all called XRP Ripple, but they thought it would be worth $8,033. That's the Wall Street Journal right there. And we're all told we're crazy for saying it could reach the thousands. I'm sure it could be in the thousands. I don't know how high, but I said here that we'll know by 20. No, we won't be taking part. I am the investor in digital assets. I don't give advice on how to invest. This is just for your entertainment. Please hit the like button and sign up. Tell your family and friends. The Wall Street Journal did say that XRP, which they called Ripple, would be worth $8,033 in 2025.